Hey guys, what's going on? Chappy Lives Out here with another video for you guys, and today we are doing a new kind of video. We are doing a tier list. But what is a tier list, you might be asking? First of all, tier is not T-E-A-R. It's not like a crying list, although I have made many a people cry with the tier list that I made. Tier, spelled T-I-E-R, is a list where you're ranking things with different categories. So let's say you're choosing to rank different kinds of cereal. You'd have a category that's like the great. You'd have a category for like great isn't like the best cereal ever. You'd have a category for good cereal. You'd have a category for the okay cereal. And you have a category for the worst cereal known to man. That's basically what a tier list is. So, with that in mind, I took it upon myself to make a tier list of everything Star Wars. Now, this may be controversial to a lot of people. I read it off to my cousin, and he wanted to kill me. So, this is, in the words of the YouTuber Puffer,
this is either my greatest idea or the worst idea ever, and I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight.
But this is also a way to see what y'all's opinions are, so at the end I will ask a comment prompt, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So in terms of what we're ranking, it's basically anything Star Wars that I've seen is being ranked. So all 9 of the original movies, the 2 standalone movies, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Rebels, Clone Wars, those kind of movies and shows are all on the table. Video games won't be included because that would be a list of their own. Hey guys, Editing Chappy here from the future. I just want to mention, because I totally forgot to mention this in the video, that I'm going to be talking about a few of these Star Wars shows and movies in depth, reasons why I like them or don't like them. So spoiler warning is now in effect. If you haven't seen everything Star Wars and plan on watching everything, stop watching this video and then come back when you're finished. If you don't care for spoilers, that's fine. If you've seen everything, that's also fine. Just wanted to go ahead and mention that. Back to the video. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and start. So, there are 5 different categories that I have. There is the best, which is like, it's self-explanatory. It's the best ones in my opinion. There's great, which is not the best, but they're still really good. There's good, which is in the middle between great and not great. There's which is like not great, or like not good, but not bad. And then there's no, which means I wouldn't for the life of me want to watch these movies for a long time. So we're going to start with no, and then we're going to go to the best, because it's always good to end on a high note. So let's start with the first category. So the first category for no, I had to look around at like different things in Star Wars that weren't appealing, because Star Wars always has like a hit or miss with some of the movies or shows that they've released. And for me, no 2 movies stick out more than Attack of the Clones and The Last Jedi. Those 2 movies are not great. Last Jedi is my least favorite movie. Attack of the Clones can be good sometimes, but both of them are just really good. I will acknowledge one thing about Attack of the Clones. I saw a video on Bombastic's YouTube channel where he analyzed Attack of the Clones and gave a new perspective on it. Is it a horrible movie? Yes. But if you look at it in what it gave us, it did a good job. Like, Attack of the Clones started the Clone Wars, and now we have the Clone Wars series. We have Order 66 and Revenge of the Sith, which leads into A New Hope. We have those kind of things from this subpar movie, and that helps give like a new perspective on it. And then The Last Jedi, there is a couple of good scenes that my family and I do like, especially, in particular, the when Rey and Kylo Ren are fighting Snoke's personal guards. That scene was really cool. So those are the worst movies. Next we have the category, so not good but not bad. And there's only one movie that I thought needs to be put on this list, because everything else was just either going to be good or worse. That movie was The Phantom Menace. I know this can kind of be a bit of a polarizing movie for some people. Some bits of it were good, some bits of it weren't so good. But I have it on here for the sake of how it can be good from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
So like, my family and I like this movie because of a few reasons. The Duel of the Fates scene at the end, which is awesome. The pod racing scene, which is also cool. And its quotable value. We keep reminding ourselves that the movie isn't great, but there are so many good quotes that come from that movie, and we quote the movie almost constantly. It's not the best, but it's still quotable. It has a couple of good scenes, and that's why it isn't the worst. And it can be, actually, a pretty good movie. Save for Natalie Portman's acting. Next, we have the good tier. There's 4 things that stick out as good. There's Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Solo, and Star Wars The Clone Wars, the series. Return of the Jedi and A New Hope are both really good, and as to the original Star Wars movies, they did a really good job kicking things off. And then Clone Wars. This one is good because this one's also hit or miss. Some of the episodes in Clone Wars are really, really good, and then other episodes of the Clone Wars aren't so good. And this is actually basically my mom's least favorite series, because literally every episode ends on a sad note, pretty much. So, kind of because of that, and just because of like what Clone Wars is, that's why it's not great, but it's also not bad, because there are still those good episodes that are definitely worth watching. So that's my good tier. Next we have the great tier, and hopefully I'm not losing any people on this. So we have Star Wars The Bad Batch, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, Rise of Skywalker, and The Book of Boba Fett. Because there's so many, I'm only going to talk about a couple of these. The Clone Wars Season 7, this I set apart differently from the Clone Wars, and here's why. Season 7 of Clone Wars came out approximately 4 to 5 years after Clone Wars ended, give or take. So they had 6 seasons, they stopped for a while, and then Season 7 started. And Season 7 was good. I loved Season 7. The different arcs that they had, and then Ahsoka's final arc with episodes 9 through 12 was amazing. The reason it's not the best for me is because of the arc in the middle, where Ahsoka kind of went into hiding, but the first arc and then the last arc, they were really fun. And then the Book of Boba Fett. This one I know can be polarizing because a few of the episodes weren't necessarily good, and then some of the episodes were. But another thing that makes me that sours this movie for me is because it's basically The Mandalorian Season 3. Mando shows up for like 2 of the episodes, and Boba Fett's either not there or just there but doesn't say anything. And yet somehow in the credits they still say starring Tamora Morrison as the main character when he's not in those episodes. So because of that, it's kind of a little soured for me. But aside from that, the Book of Boba Fett is actually really interesting. The backstory with the Tusken Raiders, and to see Boba Fett as actually a likable character is really, really cool. It's an interesting take on the character, and Jon Favreau did a really good job with creating this series. And then we have the best tier. So I only have 3 things for these, and these 3 things are the main ones that stick out in terms of entertainment factor. And these are also my top 3 favorite things of Star Wars. So there's Rogue One, The Mandalorian, and The Force Awakens. So Rogue One is a little bit iffy for a couple things, like they don't expound on the characters as much, but it is still, I like this movie because of the aspect of war. Like some of the other movies obviously deal with some variation of war because of Star Wars, but Rogue One is like a World War II Normandy style video because like there's no Jedi, it's just soldiers trying to get Death Star plans to the rebels. And because of that, it makes it really interesting, and all like the conflict that most of these characters have, it's interesting to see, and it's really cool to see them like try to surpass that. So that's why it's one of my favorites. Also, Alan Tudyk's acting as K2SO, very nice. And The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is probably one of the best things of Star Wars, if you ask anybody. And The Mandalorian is so good. All of the episodes of the 2 seasons that they've done, well, 2.5 if you count the Book of Boba Fett, have been really, really fun. And obviously, like, Mando and Baby Yoda are just a prime duo to watch together. I'm very excited for when Season 3 comes out. And then The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens started the whole new sequel trilogy, and we know that the sequel trilogy can be pretty hit or miss. But if we ignore The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and look at The Force Awakens by itself, The Force Awakens is really, really good. It started off a new trilogy, it introduced new characters, it brought back old characters. I remember the audience cheered when Han Solo and Chewbacca came into the Falcon. There's so many things about it that make it such a good movie. And again, if we ignore The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, The Force Awakens by itself is a solid movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's basically my tier list. And before we wrap up the video, I do have a question for all of you Star Wars fans out there. What trilogy needs reworking? The prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy? Because originally I was just thinking the sequel trilogy, because that's the newest thing, and I actually heard that there were rumors going around that the whole sequel trilogy was going to be reworked. However, after we watched The Phantom Menace recently, my dad and I were talking about how the prequel trilogy needed to be reworked because there were a lot of things that were kind of wrong about it. And so because of that, now I'm kind of curious what y'all think. What needs to be reworked the most? If we could pick between one or the other, the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy, I would think maybe the prequel trilogy needs to be reworked because that has a lot more things kind of going wrong than the sequel trilogy, even though there are a few plot holes in that trilogy. But I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. So now it comes to part, I'm pretty sure I've lost about half of my subscribers for this tier list, but I want to know what your thoughts are on some of these movies. There are a few that I didn't really tackle in-depthly about, but if you have any objections, any agreements, any thoughts on some of the movies or shows that I put for some of these tiers, let me know in the comments down below. I will read them. I promise I won't judge. I'm very interested to hear what your opinion would be. If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get notified of future videos, and share this video around to someone who you think might be interested in how I rank Star Wars. Overall, I love Star Wars. I was introduced to it when I was about 9, and I've enjoyed it since then. I've even got the t-shirt to show it. So like as a whole, I love it. I don't love everything about it, but I love it and it's really good. If you have any ideas for any other tier lists that I should do, also let me know in the comments down below, because I want to do more of these if people like them, and I want to tackle like different things that people might be interested in my stance in. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. If this does well, I'll probably do another one. I've also got another one lined up for the Marvel stuff, which I know would be pretty crazy. But that's a problem for another time. So once again, if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Chappie Lives All, and may the Force be with you.